So congratulations.
Thank you.
Brains gets international rescue.
Don't ask me who gets Lady Penelope.
So, I mean, what has drawn you to this job? I mean, obviously it's a big and exciting job, but I mean, why?
Because I think I can make a difference. I came into politics to make a difference, and now I'm leaving British politics to make a difference on the international level through a charity rather than through a government. And I think this is an organisation with 12,000 staff in some of the most desperate places in the world, where people are fleeing from not just hunger, but fleeing from war and conflict and strife. And I think this is an organisation that I can really throw my values into, put my sense of soul into, and help lead in a way that is really innovative and makes a difference in the world.
You said you feel a sense of repaying a debt by doing this job. What do you mean by that?
I'm repaying a debt to the people who helped my parents when they fled here, 1940 my dad, 1946 my mum, and the modern day equivalent is people in Somalia or in Mali or in coming out of Syria who are the victims of civil war, conflict, strife. And in a way, my personal and my political story come together in the mission of this organisation to help people in the motto, from harm to home.
But why did you ultimately not want to serve in the shadow cabinet? Or perhaps in a government? It's quite likely Labour will be back in power in a couple of years.
Because I've thought really hard about this. Because you're right, the obvious thing is, well, get on the pitch here. Now, I've wrestled with this. And in the end, I felt that the fascination with two brothers who had fought a leadership election against each other was going to distract attention from the real issue, which is the alternative that Labour is offering for the country compared to what the Tories are doing to the country. And I want Ed's vision against David Cameron's vision to be the story, not the minutiae, the fascination of what do Ed and David Miliband think.
But was it odd for you yourself? I mean, you know, what the media make of it is one thing, and maybe there would have been a media story, but did it feel odd to you yourself, just working with your brother?
Not
difficult?
Odd, but it's certainly unusual, but odd is not quite the right way of putting it. We're brothers, not clones. And it's very important to think hard, how do you make a constructive contribution? I've done that on the front line in the last couple of years on youth unemployment, through the Movement for Change, this community activists organisation I've created. But in the end, every time I tried to address the bigger picture, the substance of what I've been trying to say gets lost in the soap opera of the two brothers. What do they think? What does it all mean? What's the commentary on it? And that is a frustration, but I've had to be honest with myself and honest with the Labour Party, and I think this is a decision, hard as it is to say this. This isn't just right for me, I think it's right for the party.
When did you tell him?
We've been in touch about this over the last 3 or 4 months. I was approached before Christmas about this, and I've kept Ed informed. He's been very generous and respectful in giving me the space to make the right decision. So obviously, as soon as it was formal, when it looked like it was on, I kept him informed. When it was formally confirmed on Monday, I obviously told him. And it's been important to do that.
He didn't try and change your mind then? On either a personal or a political
Look,
level?
I think he knew that I would do the right thing by my own lights, by my own judgment for my family and for the party, and that I'd take my responsibilities to the party seriously. Obviously, we discussed it, but he was very respectful in giving me the space to make the decision that he knew would be a difficult one, but he knew I would make in the round according to my own best judgment of the right thing to do.
How can it be the best thing for the party, though, to lose somebody who is widely regarded as a big talent, who Tony Blair says is a massive loss, who lots of people in the Labour Party desperately want to stay and go back in the...
Look, I've wrestled with that, but I think the truth is that it's not just unusual to have two brothers in the same cabinet, same shadow cabinet. It's unique to have them fight a leadership election against each other. And because of the dynamics, the interest in the dynamics of the relationship, what I wanted to say, what Ed wanted to say, just got lost in the noise. And I think it's important that I was honest with myself about that. It's hard to come to the conclusion that you can't make the kind of contribution that you want to make in the field of your chosen endeavour in your own country. Look, I'm British, I'm passionate about Britain. I'm taking a job in America, not taking citizenship in America. But I've had to be hard on myself, if you like, and try and make the right decision for the party as well as for me.
It's a good moment to look back, I suppose, though, as well, on your political career. I mean, do you...
Yeah, I mean, but if one spends one's life looking back, it becomes a bit narcissistic, doesn't it?
I just wondered, do you find yourself thinking, had I been more ruthless, I could either have been Prime Minister or leader of the Labour Party?
No, I
you
don't.
You could have taken on Gordon Brown when you wrote that article in The Guardian, and you didn't.
Well, no, I wrote an article in the... I mean, it's flattering that people remember an article from 2008, 5 years ago, but I wish they remembered for what it said. And it was about how Labour could renew itself in office. Actually, Gordon Brown said he agreed with it. And the frustration I have is that we didn't renew ourselves in office. That's a collective responsibility, not an individual responsibility. But I try to be an optimistic person who looks forward without being naive or starry-eyed. And if you spend your time looking backwards, you end up in a bad spiral. And I think it's important to try and look forwards. I've got a remarkable opportunity to make a real difference for some of the most desperate people in the world. And I think that the IRC, the International Rescue Committee, is a remarkable organisation. It speaks to my values, it speaks to my sense of mission and purpose, and I hope that people will see in the years ahead that I am making a difference to the things that they care about. Maybe not in the way that they originally wanted, but in a way that does honour to what the Labour Party stands for.
Well, what's top of your list of priorities there? I mean, is it Syria?
Look, Syria is the overriding international political diplomatic emergency. But the IRC has staff in Burma, in Pakistan, in Mali, in Somalia. We can't forget them. I've got 12,000 people who are going to be the staff of the IRC looking to me. I've written to them today to say, I want to get to know your world. I want to understand the voices that you listen to. And so, yes, there's a diplomatic, political, security emergency of monumental, not just proportions, but implications in Syria. But there's also people in desperate need elsewhere. This is a problem that's growing, not receding. It's a growth business, I'm afraid, dealing with the victims of civil war and civil conflict, and it needs addressing in a serious way.
Is this the end of your British political career?
Well, it's certainly a career change. I mean, I'm uninhibited in saying that I'm changing career from a political career to a career in the foundation charitable world. I mean, that's what I'm announcing today.
No coming back.
Look, I'm British. I'm taking a job, not taking out citizenship. I am passionate about this country, but I'm not planning the next steps of my political career. I'm changing careers. I've spent 2 years people saying, look, there's only 10 yards between the back bench and the front bench. When are you going to jump on? Now I'm going 3,000 miles and people are saying, oh, when are you going to jump back? I'm committed to this new job I've got, a new career I've got. And I think that's where my focus is, and I think it's right that that's where it is.
So do you believe Ed will be Prime Minister?
I think,
is he on the right line?
I say what he says, which is that he can be and Labour can be in government. But he's the first to say...
There's a difference between can and will.
Yeah, but I say what he says. So there you go again. I mean, anyone who says will induces a sense of, or speaks to a complacency. We say can. And that's important because never take the electorate for granted, never underestimate the scale of the mountain that Labour has to climb. But Ed has put Labour in a strong position. He's taken the fight to the Tories, but he's the first to say it's a long way to go.
And do you think he needs to acknowledge more errors economically of the last Labour government before he moves on?
I mean,
you've hinted at that in the past.
Look, I've said...
If this is your last political interview, you may as well get this all out of the way now.
Actually, one of the things about my career, I don't do hints, I say what I think. And I've said what I think. People can go and they know my views. But I am not leaving with a 10-point to-do list for everyone who's left. I mean, there's a due case of humility in all of this. I am leaving with a sense of commitment and engagement and passion and sadness because I'm leaving South Shields, I'm leaving British politics. It's a wrenching decision to make, but I am with them all the way in getting rid of this shocking government.
David Miliband, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.